Dark Side of the Mic podcast, episode number 203. Feels great to be back. My name is James. Today's guest is a frequent flyer of the show. Last talked to him, episode 160-something last year. Already almost been a year. Joseph Santa Cruz, everybody.
James's brother.
Yeah.
I got I think it was Emilio or somebody was talking shit last time. They're like, you said all these things, but you never mentioned y'all were brothers.
Yeah, blew our cover. I wasn't gonna tell nobody since until we actually it's relevant, I guess.
Yeah. Well, no, honestly, like when I meet people and I tell them we're related, they never like believe that for some reason.
I guess because of the skin tone.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, we don't look. I'm kind of the black sheep, right? You and Miranda look more like each other than I look like y'all.
Put those up real quick.
Yeah. My levels are low. Do I need to talk louder or?
Nah.
This when I worked at Univision, the sports guy, he'd be like, oh, before he would go on air. He'd be doing that like Figaro.
Getting his levels right.
Yeah, I guess getting his like vocal cords ready.
So last time we talked, man, you were getting ready to release I think you were finishing the final edit and you're getting ready to release it. And how's that been going?
Oh, it's good. So for anyone who doesn't know, Stuck with Chuck is a short film that I made last year around this time. I finished shooting it and released it to a couple of film festivals. So far, we've gotten into 5. And it's doing pretty good. It's got like really good reception. You went to the very first premiere that we had at the Cine Festival in San Antonio, and man, the reception that we got from the crowd was amazing. First time I've ever seen my film on the big screen. Hearing people laugh at all the jokes that you write, reacting to the cringy stuff that I put in there, because this film is supposed to be like awkward and funny, and I think I hit the nail on the head when I wrote it with those 2 themes in mind.
Yeah, especially awkward with the main character.
Yeah. A lot of people, when they talk to me, and also when I talk to other filmmakers, I always kind of think in the back of my head, like, is that you? Is the main character the person who wrote the film? Because a lot of people will write themselves as the main character because it's based off of, like, experiences they've had. And I always try to tell people, I'm not that guy. Yeah. Like, I fucking don't even like the main character, which was easy for me easy for writing because I was able to throw all these things at him, like he gets fired, spoiler alert. He's coming off of a relationship. He's coming out of a relationship he's trying to get over. And so it was easy for me to like throw these obstacles towards him because I like didn't like, I wouldn't say I didn't like him, but I wasn't like, that's not me,
Yeah. Where'd that inspiration come from?
Oh, I mean, a breakup, like, I've had that idea forever. Like, I think a lot of people can relate to getting your heart broken and, just being dumped or whatever. And, it's just been a story that's always been there for me that I wanted to write. And so when COVID happened, I started working on it and I was like being all serious and dramatic. And it was like a very literal interpretation of what happened to me. And then I hate that. I'm like, I just hate when people do that. And so I kept working at it. And then, because it was COVID, I was like trying to think of a creative way how to get actors together. And a puppet just got thrown in the mix. And then once it did, it just all came together. And like I said, it's as weird as it sounds, like it's based on an experience I would say more it's like the feeling of having your heart broken, but like the film is like that. None of that shit ever really happened to me. It's as weird as that sounds. Like
whenever the puppet gets introduced, whenever he wakes up in the morning, and of course the puppet's laying there, I got a little bit of a Fabian vibe from it. I was like, something tells me this draws inspiration from Fabian. I don't know. He was always introducing us to those off-the-wall movies where they just had some sort of freaky twist in there. Mm-hmm. One of our cousins, Fabian, he introduced us to some crazy movies. He would be like, "Oh, we're having a movie night," and order or go down to the local movie gallery or Blockbuster, whatever it be, and get some just wild horror movies that I'm glad we saw.
Mm-hmm. There was always like outrageous murders, nudity that we probably shouldn't have been watching as kids, and like you said, just like weird twists.
Yeah.
Movies like Evil Ed, Cemetery Man, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, just to name a few. Trolls.
There's always nudity and sex in weird places.
Yeah, no nudity and sex, and well, there is nudity. Christian's topless, so
Yeah, in the shower.
yeah. When he takes his shirt off too, whenever he's getting drunk with Chuck.
Yeah,
which everyone's always like, did they fuck? I'm like, no.
Yeah, that is a thought, because you're kind of, I mean, you wake up, shirtless, and you were partying hard the day before.
Yeah.
With this puppet.
I don't know. You ever wake up next to your homies and be like, did we fuck?
No. Next question. This is my show. Yeah, one of my buddies sent me the video. It was I guess a year ago, whenever Ugo took me home from the lounge that one night. So yeah, that was kind of rough. I was like, yeah, let's just bury that.
Your back was sore or what?
Nah.
Ugo's a gentleman.
Yeah. He's not rough.
He's a gentle giant.
So I mean, how's it been going through? I mean, what is it? They call it, like, is there like a season, like a month from this month to this month, to where there's festivals, or is it like a year-round thing that they have festivals year-round?
Yeah, year-round. It's just called the festival circuit. So like that's what I tell people. I'm like, yeah, it's in the festival circuit right now. It's been good. Yeah, it's like I said, we started last year. We got into, I think, three last year, and then we got accepted into 2 this year. So we have the rest of the year, and there's a couple of more I'm waiting to hear back from. But I'm done with it. Like I'm not submitting it to any more festivals. It's already released online. Well, the director's cut has been released online. Because a lot of the festivals, they don't want it to have an online release. They want to be like, oh, we're premiering it or whatever. But so my way around that was like, well, it's not actually the film that you're showing. It's the director's cut, which has about like 6 extra minutes in it.
Oh, okay. That's pretty smart. How about going through the editing process? Because I know for me, when I'm doing some light editing on a 5-minute video, I'm kind of just like, oh man, like after sitting there for so long, I'm like, I need to go outside. I need to go walk around or something. How is it for you? Because I can just imagine the film was, like 35 minutes, the first cut? Mm-hmm. And, I mean, how is it for you in the editing process and deciding on what to keep and what not to keep?
Yeah, editing was literally the first job that I really had when I got out of film school. And it was also like my first love of film. Like when I started editing, I was like, oh, I really enjoy doing this. It feels like, I would joke around and be like, this is church for me. Like you're just quiet. It's just this, like, it's you and the footage that you get to work with. And I'll be honest, I hate editing now, but like I said, it was editing this film like made me a better editor, because the first cut was 35 minutes, which is incredibly way too long. And then I whittled it down to 24, which is the version online that if you want to go watch, you can see. And then I decided to make it even shorter, because shorter films just have a higher success rate on the festival circuit getting accepted. And the reason for that is, think of it like this. If you have a 30-minute film and they have 30 minutes left to fill, and then there's 3 other films that are 10 minutes apiece that are equally as good as yours, they're going to go with the 3 rather than yours, because they have more content and more filmmakers to show up to the festival. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to get it down as short as I possibly can. I got it down to 18 and a half minutes. And that is like currently where it's at right now. But it was cool. It was a challenge. It was a challenge to cut it down. There's a saying in the film industry, you have to kill your darlings. And basically, it's just saying like, there could be a line you wrote or a scene that you're super precious about, but if you're able to take it out of the film and the film still works, take it out, kill your darling.
Do you ever have to worry? Because I worry. I mean, I just wonder. I know Jared Leto got upset whenever he was filming the Suicide Squad, because apparently a lot of his parts as the Joker were cut. Do you ever worry that maybe you might get some bad feedback from one of the actors or something like that their parts weren't used appropriately? I mean, anything like that?
No, You know, I'm sure it happens, and I'm sure even with this film, you know, the actors might have a thought of like, oh, I wish you would have used another take, or maybe you would have done this. I mean, I actually had to cut out a character for the festival film, and I didn't want to. Like, I wrote that character, I loved that character, and I thought it was like good for the film, but the character didn't interact with Ethan, the main character, at all. And I literally, as I was, like I said, I was slashing scenes, you know, things out of the film, and that character had 2 scenes, and those 2 scenes got cut. And you know, so she's in the YouTube version, which is the only one that's gonna really ever be seen by most people anyways. That's like, if somebody came to me and was like, hey, do you want to put this on a DVD, I'd be like, put that one on there. So technically she's still in the film, but in the festival one, like, I had to cut that character out. And it wasn't easy, but I've done it before. Like, when I was in film school, like, I literally had to slash an actress's performance because she just wasn't good. And, you know, that's just part of the learning curve. It's like, you learn to, judge performances, and you kind of learn what a good performance is and what a not so good performance is. It's just part of being objective about your art. And I can do that now. You know, I know Stuck with Chuck isn't perfect, and there's things in it that I wish could be better, not just from the actor's side, but also from my own side, the cinematography and some of the sequences that are in the film. So I think that's one thing I'm really good about, is just being objective of the work and just removing myself from it and saying like, that's okay. It's good. Like, overall, I'm like 90% happy with it.
Is it crazy looking back on your old YouTube videos, like your first ones?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because that was about 5-6 years ago, maybe.
8.
8.
Mm-hmm.
Dang.
Started 8 years. I started filmmaking 8 years ago. And yeah, they're up there. I mean, they're rough, you know, but I'm super proud of them, and I you know, wouldn't ever make anything like that today, but I leave them up there because I'm like, hey, look how far I've come, you know. Especially in terms of like my cinematography and my lighting. That's one thing I'm like really proud of.
Yeah. Is it crazy, like, nowadays, especially, I mean, you can kind of equate it to like the music world with like SoundCloud and stuff, how easy it is to get some work out there. And with YouTube, for you to, let's say YouTube wasn't around, you know, your option would be to, you know, make like full-length films, you know, and go from there, kind of, instead of nowadays where like the short, or the what you were telling me with the microfilms. Is that like the microfilms, are they something that have just like emerged lately, you know, since you know, this like shorter version and short attention span that people have? Is that something that's emerged lately, or has that like been around for a certain amount of time with like the 5-minute films, or is it 5 minutes or less?
Yeah, so I have another film called Night Visit, and it's a horror film that's also currently has been accepted into 2 festivals. That actually won Best Horror Film at the Austin Microfilm Festival, and it's nominated for Best Micro Short Film at the Screen ATX Film Festival. I don't know. I can't say like how long short films and micro short films have been around, but I feel like they've been around for a long time, because you can go and find like old short films that were shot literally on film. And I don't think they were like born from like a short attention span. I think it was just like a short form way to tell a story. And that it's a challenge to tell a good story in a short amount of time. And I think it's a good way for a lot of people, filmmakers especially, kind of realize like, hey, you know, if I can't make a good short film, I'm not going to be able to make a good feature film. So I think short films have been around for a while. Like I said, like you can go find old Robert Rodriguez short films. Like there's a short film he made called Bedhead. Dude, it's amazing. Like he shot that on like a old film camera with his brothers and sisters, and he was probably like, I think he was in college, right? So he was early, like maybe like 18, 19. Dude, to this day, I'm like blown away by how good it was. And I mean, it was low budget, but I mean, it was really, really, it's really good. I think you can find it on YouTube.
He made Desperado, right? Mm-hmm. Like on very low budget.
Yeah. Well, no, he made El Mariachi for $7,000 by himself. He was a cinematographer. He didn't have a crew at all. He used like 3 can lights, shitty lights. Like these lights we're using to light us are better than what he had. And Yeah, he went out and made a feature film for $7,000, and the reality of it, the $7,000, you're not even looking at it on screen. What he spent most of that money on was buying film stock for the film camera, because they didn't have digital cameras back then, or they did, but
So
they
you
were probably
gotta-
like shitty camcorders.
You got to buy the film.
Yeah, so anyone who doesn't know, I wanted to make a film, a 35 millimeter film in college, and it cost $500 for 100 feet of film stock for colored 35 millimeter print. $500.
Dang.
And 100 feet will get you about 10 minutes of film.
So you did some calculations and was
Oh,
like,
yeah, I was like, fuck, pay rent or
would have been a nice story to tell.
right, yeah.
I didn't pay my rent because I had to.
Me and my brother got kicked out of our house because I wanted to make this shitty short film.
Yeah, that's nuts, man. Is that because it's hardly used now, or is that's just because it's expensive to make, or?
Yeah, it's expensive. It's like physical. There's a chemical process to it, and it's I don't know exactly why, but it's anything analog, anything that you can put your hands on is gonna cost money to make. And
so you just wanted to like experience just working with like some old tools, or do you think like the recording with that kind of equipment gives like a certain feel to the film and a certain look?
Definitely gives a look, gives it a vibe. But yeah, I just wanted to be able to say like, hey, I shot a film on 35 millimeter film stock, and because a lot of people don't do that now, but it's not. I don't not do it because it's inefficient. I just do it because it's super expensive.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully one day, like when I'm working with the studio, maybe I'll have a big budget. I definitely would love to shoot a feature film on 35 millimeter, but.
Yeah, back to what I was asking about YouTube. I kind of veered off on another question, but so with everybody like being able now, like you can just go out, record, a little film and upload it to YouTube. That's great because you can, it gives access for everybody to upload their content, but at the same time, does it make it like sort of like saturated in a way to where there's so much stuff that it can be hard to notice? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's definitely saturated. The market is saturated for sure. But I think if you make something of value and it's good and people like it, like you're gonna stand out. So it's a good thing and a bad thing in a sense. Like I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if like I couldn't get my hands on like an affordable cinema camera and affordable lights and practice whenever I wanted to, and I don't have to pay for film stock because I have an SD card that I can shoot until my heart is content, which is a good and a bad thing because now nowadays people just like spray and pray. They just shoot until their heart is content. And back in the day when you were shooting on film, you couldn't do that, so there was more intent behind what you were filming. You had to really nail in the shot. You had to really be like, oh, this is really what we want to do. Nowadays you can kind of experiment and play around and just be like, well, let me shoot it from this angle, let me shoot it from here, and it's like, I don't like that. So that's why I heard somebody say that they call it spray and pray with film. I mean, you do it in gaming and stuff, but yeah. But that's always my focus is to be an intentional filmmaker. Like I don't want to just do something for the sake of doing it. Like I'm picking this angle, I'm picking this perspective, this lighting gives me a feeling, and this is why we're lighting it this certain way. So there's always, and for me, there's always intention behind what I'm doing. I'm not just doing it because it looks good or I saw it in another movie. Like it needs to service the story and it needs to have a purpose. And I feel like I get that across. Sometimes I do worry because I do make films that are geared towards filmmakers. And when I say that, I mean like other people who would watch. Most people, when you watch it, and I'm sure you're like this too, to a certain extent. I know we've had this conversation before. But the average moviegoer just goes and watches the movie and focuses on the story, and they don't care about the lighting or the camera angles or the edits or these cuts and transitions. Nobody gives a shit about any of that unless you're a filmmaker. And so I do a lot of things. I put a lot of these little Easter eggs in my films in terms of like techniques and cuts and shots and stuff like that that service the story, but other film people will notice, but an average person won't notice. And they might even be like, well, that's weird. Why is this in the movie?
Yeah.
But
yeah. When you're out there recording and stuff, do you ever like draw inspiration from any of your favorite directors, to where you're like, oh, you know, so and so did this, let me try, you know, this, whether it be, you know, getting in a weird position or filming something from a certain angle?
Oh, 100%, man. Like, I don't know. I've heard this quote before, and I don't know how like true it is. I think it's like attributed to Pablo Picasso, but I've read somewhere that he didn't actually say it like this, or it got translated differently. But essentially, the saying is, "Good artists copy, great artists steal." And so, yeah, I 100% draw inspiration from, you know, filmmakers in the past and contemporary filmmakers that are making movies now, like Tarantino and Scorsese, and, you know, even some of Brian De Palma's old films. He directed Scarface. But the one director that I would say has really impacted my work is this Italian filmmaker named Michelangelo Antonioni. And it scares me a little bit because he has made some of the most boring films that you can possibly watch. But I find them interesting, and they're considered art house films because a lot of it is just people on the surface just meandering, and there's like some dialogue, and they're very plotless almost. There is kind of like an overarching plot that drives the story along, but it's not like Michael Bay shit. You're not seeing fucking explosions and Optimus Prime coming out of an 18-wheeler. Fucking.
So you just like them because of the camera work?
Not just because of the camera work, but because of the theme in his films. He wrote this trilogy, and I don't even know if it's a real trilogy, but they label it the trilogy of like people just feeling lost. And so there's one called La Ventura, and it's about this woman and her friend, and they're going on this vacation with all her friend's boyfriend and all these other people, and then her friend's like she gets lost. She jumps off the boat and it's like, I'm swimming to the island, I'll meet y'all there. And then she's fucking lost. And then the rest of the movie is about her and looking for her friend. And then she starts hooking up with her friend's boyfriend as they're like looking for her, and they're following all these clues and leads. And then, you know, spoiler alert, they never fucking find her. You don't know what happens to the girl. And that would never happen in a traditional film, you know, like you close the plot points, but he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm not going to close the plot point. There's another one called La Notte, and it's about this, again, it's this couple, and it's just these movies about people who are just not content with their life. They have wealth, they have everything that you would want, but they just don't have a purpose. And same thing, this couple, they're not happy. The woman wanders around the city, the husband's screwing around, wandering around, they meet back up. Beautiful film. And then there's another one called Red Desert. And same things, this woman, and he uses the same actress in almost all of his movies. Her name's Monica Vitti. She's amazing. She actually recently passed away, but they're great films. And I'll be honest, like the first time I watched one, I was bored. I was like, man, what the fuck is this? Like, this is really annoying. Like, where is this leading to? And then I find out, it didn't lead anywhere. And then for some reason, I was just drawn to it, and I wanted to watch it again, because I do that. I'll watch movies a couple of times to see what I can, dig beneath the surface and see what you can find. And I watched it again, and then I was just the imagery, the cinematography is gorgeous, and the reasons behind it, the intent behind it, you see a lot. He shoots the characters from behind a lot. Like, you just see the back of their head in a scene when they're talking, and the way he frames them up. Like, let's say the woman's facing, you see the back of her head, and then the other character has like a side profile, and that's like, nobody talks like that, like right now if we were talking, I'd be looking over here and you'd be just looking at me. We would never talk like that. But it looks gorgeous on camera. And there's a reason behind. There's a purpose for that, and so I guess like the style really just called to me, and I like his movies. I watch them all. I've seen most of them. I wouldn't say all of them.
When I see people having a conversation in a movie and they have that angle where the camera is like over their shoulder, is that taken like in? So do you have one of the people like talking, with the camera behind them, and the person right there, and they're just like talking, and is the other person like standing there like having the conversation with them, because they're, the person from behind that the camera is getting isn't going to be on the camera, because that's coming from another angle that's taken at another time, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So typically, what you would say, what the actor would do is like, you're not on camera, so you don't have to like put your best foot forward. Like say the lines, kind of like, you know, give the other person something to work with, right? Okay. You know, but you don't have to like fucking cry on, you know, on cue or whatever. But yeah, that's how it is. It's like they should know. It's like, okay, this is your close up. Like this is when you need to like give it your best effort. Funny thing about that though, Brian De Palma, he made this movie. I can't remember what it was called, but the lead in the movie was some like kind of like washed up, semi-famous actor. He didn't want to work with the guy, but they just needed him to like, you know, sell the movie. And he said the dude became so jealous of the woman in the film because she was a new actor and her performance was amazing that he started fucking her up and like moving his head. Like when she's talking, he was like trying to screw up her eye line so the eye line wouldn't match with his cutaway and stuff like that. And I just thought that was so interesting. And I'm sure there's other people out there, you know, because not everyone in the film industry is a nice person, you know.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, some people demand, I guess when you're in their presence, they demand like the very best out of you, or, you know, I guess a standard is set, you know, for other people that are on set. But I mean, sometimes that's what greatness, you know, requires. Whenever I see people like just in like a green screen or just in a wild movie where it's like in the jungle or something, and I know, mainly because of talking to you and seeing your behind the scenes and stuff, I'm like, man, it's crazy because you have to go in there and I mean, you literally have to act like your surroundings, like you're literally in this you know, setting, and that's what makes a great actor or actress, is because you're able to make the audience believe that you're in this setting, you're in distress, you're looking for somebody, you're doing this, you know, and you know, for a certain amount of time, they're like, all right, cut. And yeah, it's just crazy to think.
Yeah, and you know what it's like because you've been in a couple of my short films. And
I'm not proud of them.
And it's not easy to act for the camera, but also you're acting for a crew of people. There's people on set just watching you perform, you know.
The first one we did, and this was my very first one, and I was like nervous as hell, and everyone was watching, and you're like, all right, you're like, go. And I just like, read out my line like I was like reading a book, and you like laughed, and you're like, all right, dude, relax, chill out. And then I was like, oh, I'm acting here, you know. And I was like, okay, I gotta think about it, put myself, you know, in a certain mindset, and did the best that I could. But
yeah,
it was fun.
I mean, honestly, too, with that, like, it was a learning process for me, and like now we do rehearsals. Like I realized, like, oh, I need to rehearse this with the actor. I need to, because then you would get comfortable with the material, saying the lines, and then I realized this is part of my writing process now. Is once I think I'm done with the script, I'm not actually done with it. Then I cast, then I find the talent, then we do a script reading, and I hear the words spoken to me, and I'm like, nah, that sounds like shit, you know, and let me rewrite that. And so that's like my final phase is the script reading with actors, and then I scratch stuff out and I, you know, put in notes. Okay, I'd rather them say this, or, you know, there needs to be a beat in between this dialogue, and yeah, so that's you know, and like I said, it's part of my process. I've evolved, and you know, it's just learning, you know.
And you're pretty flexible, like, you know, if they're like, hey, well, I want to add on this, or I think it should be said like this, or, you know, pretty flexible.
I'll be honest, I used to be, not anymore.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, no. So the way I look at it now is like, I want you to say what's written, because I don't know. I've changed. I used to always tell people, I'll be like, look, the words don't matter. Just say it as naturally as you can possibly say it. But now I'm like, no, the fucking words matter. Like, I want you to say what I've written. I didn't waste my time writing this dialogue. Like, it's getting somewhere. There's a point to it. But I will say, I am a fan of improvisation. And what I try to do now is leave room at the end of every scene, or every, you know, once we're done getting the script, okay, let's have fun. But now you can improvise. Now you can, you know, do whatever you want to do that you think will work, or say it how you want to say it. And sometimes that might work. That may turn out better than what I had anticipated, or they might throw a curveball. Our friend Edward, dude, fucking master at improv. He's surprisingly like incredibly good at improvising just off the wall stuff that I could never write in a million years, and I always use it. I'm like, this guy's fucking good at it.
Yeah, who by the way has a cameo in credit scene in has a cameo recording scene in credit scene in Stuck with Chuck. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Does that last a certain
30 minutes?
30
It's got a
minutes?
recording limit.
Oh, okay.
Just they build that into the camera, so like, well, if you want one that records longer, pay for it.
Okay.
Pain in the ass.
Yeah, Edward's pretty funny, and he's been hanging around and helping you out since the very beginning.
Pretty much, yeah. Since we I met him through you, and then like when we started hanging out, and he would help me with all my projects. Well, he you know what, he won't say he's a filmmaker. He's a fucking filmmaker too. You've acted in his stuff, you know.
Yeah.
He's got a old YouTube channel, and he made like that. I don't even know what it is. Some kind of like kill. It's like a violent type film. You like, do you kill somebody or some? No, somebody else shoots somebody, right?
Yeah, it was in. Well, he's just done. We entered a chameleonaire contest when we were younger, and yeah,
that's before I even was like attempting to even make any stuff.
Yeah, he had his he was learning graphics and stuff. So I got shot and I got hit by a car and I
blown
even
up
got
by a meteor.
Yeah, yeah. That was ridiculous, but we won the contest and got the CD that we wanted. So that was pretty cool. That's
why I'm like, dude, I know he's a fan of films. He's a cinephile too. So I'm like, dude, you're a filmmaker.
Yeah. We've pretty much always been a fan of movies when we were younger. You know, there was, I always tell people that we had a certain collection that we had in rotation because if that wasn't the case, I would have never seen Armed and Dangerous. I would have never seen Look Who's Talking, some of the classics that were in there.
Old ass movies.
I showed AJ, my son, the other day, we watched The Princess Bride, and he hadn't seen it, but he was all into it there watching, and so now he picked up some quotes from it.
Oh,
so
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like, why does he keep saying that? And then that guy, stop saying that.
Hell yeah.
Like I told him, I was like, what, six-fingered man, dude? Well, actually, when that guy said that, whenever he said six-fingered man killed, and then he was like, does he have six fingers? Like, nah. So throughout the whole movie, you know, he was keeping an eye out for the six-fingered man.
Did he spot it or no?
Oh, yeah. And he saw him, and he was like, and then he, of course, knocks him out, you know.
You know I can't remember his name in the movie, but he's a little short, fat, bald guy. He's like, he drinks the poison.
Inconceivable.
Yeah. He's actually a writer. He's like a famous writer. He's written like some really good movies, and he's known for this like art house film, and it's called My Dinner with what is it called? My Dinner with Andre or something like that. And I had never seen it, and when I watched it, I was like, oh, this guy, like, this is fucking Princess Bride guy. Yeah. So I guess he does some acting too, but like he wrote and co-directed this movie, and it's a rough one to get through, but I'm glad I watched it because it literally is a movie about a guy who has dinner with a friend he hadn't seen in forever. And dude, they're just talking about life and the whole movie is just them talking for an hour and a half at this dinner. But dude, they talk about everything, and it's just like existential life crisis and capitalism and the matrix and the machine and this cog that we live in and society and just everything that you could ever like think of in terms of like what a deep conversation with a person would seem like. And there's clips, you can look it up. I'm sure you've seen clips on TikTok of these two dudes having this conversation.
Probably.
With like some like do because I've seen some before, and I'm like, oh, that's from My Dinner with blah blah.
Do they have like flashbacks or anything in there, or is it just two dudes at dinner?
Two dudes at dinner just talking, hour and a half, dude. That's what I'm saying. It's a hard watch, and you know, the other day I tried, not the other day, but I remember after I had seen it, I tried to watch it again because, like, you know, I said I like to watch movies a couple times. And dude, I was not in the mood for it. I was like, man, I'm gonna go cut the grass or something. Like, I can't do this right now. So that's the beauty of films too. Man, like, people are always like, this was good, this was bad. Well, how were you feeling that day when you saw it? You know, because humans, we're so temperamental. Our moods change. You know, like, steak is good, but like, would you say that after you ate it for a week straight?
Yeah,
You know, you'd be like, I'm sick of this shit. And so that's what I always tell people. I'm like, well, it depends on what mood you're in. Like, you know, if you're in a certain mood, you should go and watch a movie that you thought, I didn't like that. Maybe you'll end up like, maybe you'll like it. And I don't know if you've ever talked to anyone where people are like, I didn't like it at first, but I watched it again and I thought it was pretty good. And it's like, maybe you just weren't in the mood for that, you know? So I always say that. I'm like, man, sometimes I'm like, I'm in the mood for something, you know, and I don't know. It's that's why I'm always like, I don't ever really say I hate a movie. Like if I don't like it, I mean, there's certain things about movies that I don't like. And I would more so say it's about the industry that bothers me. Like, I don't want to shift the conversation, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, we can get there later. It's dark side. Something that I won't do also is argue with somebody over whether or not a movie is good or not, because I've thought that, like for instance, Marvel Eternals. Did you ever see that one? I thought it was a good movie.
I liked it.
I could understand how some people didn't like it, but I'm like, I thought it was a good movie. You thought that was a good movie? Are you serious? And I'm like, dude, like, I mean, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like some people, depending on where you come from, your background, you know, what you've been through, how you're feeling that day, like you said, you're not necessarily going to find a movie, you know, as appealing to you as somebody else might. And so I won't even argue unless they're talking about Forrest Gump or Titanic or, you know, one of my personal classics. You know, I'm gonna be like, no way. And also too, you know, it's something that grinds my gears is just you haven't seen that movie? Like, come on, man. Like,
I do that sometimes though.
Yeah.
When I meet other people who are like movie people, I'm like, you haven't seen that? Really? Like,
well, there are some, but that's the thing. It's where I have my lists where like Pulp Fiction, Forrest Gump, like I mentioned, to where they're like, dude, you've never seen that movie? Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, you know, I understand that some people just, you know, for whatever reason, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Movies aren't life. I met somebody, this girl, I think it was in college, in one of my classes, and she was like, oh, what are you? I was like, I'm a film major. And she's like, I fucking hate movies. And I was like, what? She's like, I don't watch movies. And I was like, dude, I've never met somebody. And I guess that's why that sticks with me, because I'm like, I've never ever met somebody who's like, I don't like movies. And I'm like, what do you do with your life?
Yeah, like what do you like?
Yeah.
It's probably some other weird shit.
Never mind.
Yeah, they allow for an escape, man. Like you just sit down and just forget about, you know, take a breather, man, and just, you know, let your mind just suspend reality if the movie calls for it. And you know, just enjoy.
Yeah, it's they're so multifaceted, right? You have entertainment, you have art, you have philosophy in this, that you can just, you know, if you want to watch a movie and be entertained, you can watch it. If you want to watch a movie that's like an art house film and appreciate the beauty of it and the themes and all that, you can do that. Or if there's a movie that has like this philosophical message that really like pulls on your heartstrings, fucking watch it, because that's what it does. There's so much packed in that you can take, that there's so many things that you can take from it that individual people can, you know, I liked it because of this, or I liked it because of that. Or like I said, you can just be like, yeah, shit was cool. I burned an hour and a half and gave me something to do. It's like, fuck, right on, man.
Yeah, I was telling you, I saw Steve earlier at the barbershop, and he told me to ask you when you're going to start filming porn.
I don't know, man. I might.
He said, I'll help him.
Yeah.
I'll hold some lights.
When you're ready to star in one.
Oh, man. Have you ever gotten crazy requests to film, you know, something that you really weren't interested in? You know?
Yeah. 100%, man. There's people, you know, that have, now that like I've been doing the film festival circuit. I've been making a lot of connections, and I've been meeting a lot of really cool, interesting filmmakers that have produced great work that are so underrated, and I've also seen some movies that are not so good. But I don't really like. I don't knock people for making a bad movie, because I made bad movies. You know, like there's crap that I've made that like I'm not 100% proud of. Like the writing was good, but the lighting looked like shit. Now maybe my lighting is better, but my writing could be better or whatever. I'm not meaning to rhyme. And but I have been, you know, solicited to shoot stuff, because I'm a cinematographer as well now. yeah, I've been asked to shoot some stuff, and the scripts just were like not my cup of tea. But I was open to do it, but you know, thank God it didn't work out.
Let's see if I can spit this question out properly. So, if somebody is like the Michelangelo, that was his name right earlier that you had mentioned.
Antonioni,
Yeah.
Michelangelo Antonioni.
Yeah. If so, you know, like he created these films that weren't necessarily like appealing. Is that correct?
Yeah, you could say that.
But I'm pretty sure that there were the movies that he wanted to make and that probably made him happy. If somebody is, you know, making some films and they're just not really getting a whole lot of good feedback, and, you know, depending on what they're shooting for, if they're making like what they want to make as opposed to something that's going to attract a lot of attention and, you know, propel them to a successful filmmaking career, what would you advise, you know, to stay on that path of make what you want to make, you know? Mm-hmm. But I would think that path would be a little bit hard because with the success comes like the funds, you know, and the money, and in order to buy equipment, you know, get actors, actresses, and, you know, pay for stuff that requires, you know, I guess production in the film. Mm-hmm. So what would you recommend to somebody who is in the film industry, who's making films? They might not be seeing a whole lot of success, but they are making what they want to make. Would you, you know, well, maybe you should change this, but maybe it's not something that they're into. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. No. Dude, do what makes you happy, right? A lot of people, I will say, like, make something that you want to watch. Like, don't make something you think somebody else wants to see. Make something that you want to see. And that's what I do. I make films that I'm into, that I would like to watch. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I watch my movies. I fucking enjoy that shit. Like, I'm there and I'm just like fucking, like, I've never seen it before. I'm like, damn, that was good. You know, I'll jump at the jump scare. I'm like, oh shit. Like, no, but yeah, absolutely. Do what you want to do and don't worry about what anyone else has to really say. You know, because look at the movies we used to watch, these fucking horribly made movies, but they find an audience. They found people who liked it like we did. And that's what I always tell people. I'm like, I write shit and like, I don't ever doubt how funny it's going to be, because it's funny to me. And if it's funny to me, it's going to be funny to somebody else. All right. Somebody's going to get the joke. And that's just, that's what you have to do. And you just put your best foot forward. And so, yeah, I've always maintained that thing. I'm like, I'm going to make something that I would want to watch, that I think would be funny. But also, I am striving for a level of, like, what's the word? Like, not something that's popular, but just, like, mainstream, right? I am striving for a level of, like, mainstream success, but still staying true to myself, staying true to my writing, staying true to what I want to make for myself. And it's just like, there's a saying in the film industry too. It goes, one for them, one for you, you know? So that it's like, true. Yeah, you know, and I have no problem doing that. Like, if I get to a level, if somebody comes up to me and they're like, hey, do you want to make fucking Ninja Turtles 21? Like, yeah, I'll make, you know, whatever. It's not going to be I'm not going to be in love with it, or who knows, maybe the script is good. You know, I'm basically, what I'm saying is I will sell out to make the money to go and make what I really want to make next.
I got a soundtrack idea. 21. Yeah.
I always joke and say, like, Transformers 37 or something.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but because they make a million of them.
Or Fast 15.
Yeah.
Which is pretty, it's not too far off of the realm of possibility.
For sure.
Are you into those?
Yeah, to be honest, they're so stupid. How could you not? Like, they're comedies at this point.
Yeah, they're bringing back, or they're not bringing him back, but they're gonna write off Paul Walker's character. What's his name?
Oh, they're killing him off?
I forgot his name.
He's all like, what does he tell Tyrese? He's all like, nah, cuz.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot what they're gonna do, but I know that they're gonna have him in this film. I think they said that his brother's gonna play him along with some CGI.
And they're gonna kill him off?
I'm not sure. I think they said that they're gonna explain what happened to him. Is what they said.
They should have just done that off screen. I feel like that's kind of like crazy.
They said apparently Vin Diesel wasn't ready to
kill the character in the movie.
Yeah, deal with that.
Keep him alive in the film. That's still weird, though.
I think that was in 20. That's been
it's been a minute.
Yeah, I think like six plus years.
Honestly, his I like the Fast and Furious 2 and Tokyo Drift. Those are some of the best ones. I mean, and of course the original.
What have you? What's the last movie you watched?
Ooh,
new
movie. Shit.
I guess theaters.
Yeah, we just went and saw something. I can't remember, dude. I'm just drawing blanks left and right. Name some movies that are out in the theater right now.
John Wick.
Yeah, that's what I went and saw.
Oh, you saw John Wick?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Yeah, I liked it. Well, okay, yes, it was good. I enjoyed the film, but I will say, with those movies, it's just there's a part of me that it's like, all right, like get to the fucking point, you know? Like, I like the action, I like the choreography, but to be honest, like, seeing him kill like 50 people, it does get kind of like boring for me, because I'm like, where does this end? Like, technically, like, they can just keep bringing people in and in and in and in, you know? And it's like, when does it end? Just because they said it ends?
Yeah.
You know? Like, really think about it. Like, they literally could just like, oh, there's 1,000 soldiers coming, and it's good though. Don't get me wrong. Like, you go to see those movies to go see that, but yeah, I liked it.
I was watching Kill Bill the other day. Whenever she goes and looks for
Ren.
Yes, and all of the what was that gang called? The
Crazy 88.
Yeah, Crazy 88. So they all run in, and I was like, man, I forgot about this part. And I'm like, how did she end up beating all these people?
Fucking chops them to bits.
Yeah, it's like a bloodbath. That's when they turn it black and white, right? For that scene. That's pretty cool.
I don't know how true it is. Apparently they ran out of blood, so they used water, and that's why they turned it black and white, because water you can't tell what the color is. It turns up like dark on black and white film.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know how true it is, but that's what I heard.
That's crazy. Yeah, that's going. I hate watching movies with people and they're like, "Oh, no way!" Like, that. Come on now, that can't happen.
No shit.
Yeah, it's like, it's a fucking movie, man.
Yeah, even movies that like try to be real. Here's the thing, dude. There's nothing real about a movie, and like even when you're making one, like, I don't ever strive for realism, because real life, you're not gonna have a fucking camera pointed in your face reciting lines that you've been fed to beforehand, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like, something I read or I heard another like old filmmaker talk about is like, that's a mistake a lot of people make, is they try to make it real, and it's like, this is not reality. It's a mirror. A film is a reflection of reality.
Yeah. Even when like people are having conversations, it looks natural when you're watching it, like on a TV show or in a movie. But if you saw that in real life, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, why are you acting weird?
Oh, even dialogue. I hate, there's a word, it's called exposition, and it's used, it just means it's when a character's on screen explaining something to another character, but they're really explaining that for the audience to know, right? And that's what we would call exposition. And I hate exposition in movies, because nobody ever really talks like that. The killers do it at the end, it's like a trope. It's like they tell you why.
They're filling you in.
Yeah, they tell you why, their motive, and it's like, that's not real life, nobody does that. But like I said, you don't strive for realism, but that is like one stupid thing about it. It's just, I feel like it's bad writing, but I've probably done it before, so.
You like those ones like Jackie Brown, where she narrates it, right? She's like talking, and then also, Kill Bill, the TV series.
Is Jackie
Netflix.
Brown? Is there narration in Jackie Brown?
I thought she.
No,
I might be thinking of something else.
No, Kill Bill. There's narration, voiceover narration. Yeah, she's telling you the story. She's telling the audience the story. Yeah, I like stuff like that, man. It's entertaining. It's like, you can have fun with that,
I watched. I had binge watched the last season of You, and I was, I watched it, and there was still some daylight, so I think I went out and got something to eat. But I'm just like, in my head, I'm just like, oh no, where are my keys? Can't find them. What am I going to do?
You look down when you're taking a piss. Hello, you.
Yeah.
I haven't beat you in a while.
A little on the low side, but that's okay.
Yeah, there's a movie. It's called Adaptation with Nicolas Cage. Fucking hilarious movie, dude. And there's a scene where his character's a screenwriter, and he goes to like a screenwriting seminar because he's stuck, or he's an author, I think. I think he's writing a book, and he goes to a screenwriting seminar, and he's trying to get notes from this guy, and in the movie he's narrating, he's like, this fucking guy da 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 da, and then the writer's like, or maybe it's beforehand. Anyways, the dude who's giving the seminar is like, and don't ever put voiceover narration in your movie. It's sloppy, it's lazy, and any jackass can write voiceover narration. And then the fucking voiceover narration begins in the movie, and you hear like Nicolas Cage's character like doing voiceover narration.
That's hilarious.
It is. It's actually pretty funny.
American Psycho.
Right? Yeah. That was. Did you know that was directed by a woman?
No, did not.
Yeah, American Psycho. That was based off of a book.
Dang. Written by?
I don't know. No, I don't know who the author was, to be honest. A lot of good movies. Earlier we were talking about Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. That was all of his movies are based off of novels. And I think that's one, and I understand why, to be honest. Like, if I was rich, I would probably do the same. What he would do is he would find a book, a really interesting book, a novel, and then he would buy the rights or the licensing rights or he would option it to make it into a script. But so he would write the script, but he had all the source material. And I can see why, because it's so hard to just start from nothing.
That's something I was going to ask you about. Do you have, like, when you start writing, is there like a time of day? Do you have a certain place? Do you just cut the lights, set the mood, or anything like that? Do you have some sort of ritual that you go through?
Yeah, I try to just wake up early. So like before I start work, I try to wake up at least an hour and a half and get 30 minutes of writing done before I start my day.
Every day?
Yeah. And so I finished a feature film, a horror film script doing that. And then I just I didn't keep it up afterwards. So, but that's kind of what I try to do. But no, like right now with my schedule and I try to get in at least 30 minutes a day of writing, and 30 minutes a day might mean 10 pages or it might mean 1 page, as long as I wrote something.
That's pretty good, man. Night Visit. Let's talk about Night Visit. Just won best
horror film.
Best horror film.
Austin Microfilm Festival.
Nice. How'd that feel?
Loved it, man. It was great. Yeah. I'm really bummed that our lead actress, her name's Lindsay. She was nominated for best acting performance. I really wanted her to win, to be honest. Like, that's some of the best feedback I get from that movie is her acting performance. Everyone's like, dude, she had no lines, and you could just like feel the tension. You can see the fear. And yeah, I think it's as good as it is and as successful because of her performance.
That's nice, man. Anything planned with her, like in the future?
Yeah, I haven't really talked to her about it, but yeah, I do. I want to put her in my first feature film. Yeah, because I was blown away. She's a great actress. She has like a presence, and she was just really good to work. Like really easy to work with. Like took direction well, gave feedback. Super humble, very nice, just a generally nice person. And that's another thing that like I will tell anyone who's interested in working in the film industry. Like you're gonna meet assholes. I've met some, and I will tell you, just have a no asshole policy. Just I don't work with shitty people, period. And I mean, like if I have to, I will, but like I try not to interact. Yeah.
Do you ever have people getting like spooked on set, like when you're filming like a horror, like a short or anything like that?
Arissa, my wife, did when we were shooting so we were in COVID. I just had the itch. I was like, let's make this scary film. And she was like getting scared because we had the lights off, and then she heard a noise and she was like scaring herself. But no, I'm like not crew wise or professionals. I don't think anyone's ever gotten spooked.
Oh, okay. And the majority of the actresses that you find, you just put a casting call out there and...
Yeah, lately I have been. Yeah. Before I really made anything of value, I was just, putting friends and family because I just didn't feel like I was ready to work with a real actor. And yeah, like when I came out of COVID, like once we came out of COVID, I was like, dude, I'm ready to work with actors, and I'm ready to do all these things that I wanted to do 2 years ago, you know, and this stupid thing put us behind. So yeah, now I've worked with some professional actors, or, you know, people getting started in the industry, or some people that have, you know, been in other films and have experience, and it's always a pleasure. You can just see the passion, you can see the technique, the skill is there for some people, and yeah, I love it.
You ever have hotheads come in? They're like, "Oh, I've worked with so and so, and I've done this with so and so," like just like trying to flex, but you know, like throw names out there and stuff like that.
No, not really. I mean, it happens in conversation, right? Because we're all talking about set experiences when you're on set and you're just having some downtime. And the mom in Stuck with Chuck, she literally is like on the Love and Death poster behind Elizabeth Olsen in the choir. So like you literally could see her on the right hand side behind Elizabeth Olsen. She was in a Robert Rodriguez film. She's the sweetest, most humblest person. She's very nice. We still keep in contact, you know, on Instagram, and we message each other and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm just rooting her on. I'm like, dude, go get big, please get famous, so then somebody can just stumble upon Stuck with Chuck because of your name, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, I will say this. Okay, I have a funny story. So when we were casting for that part in Stuck with Chuck, the mom, we did interview this lady, and the first thing she says, I'm just gonna tell the story, and then I'll let whoever, you know, judge. First thing she says to me and my producer is, "Oh, do you know who I am?" And we're just like, I was just so taken back. I was like, "No." She's like, "Oh, you haven't Googled me or anything?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I looked y'all up. I couldn't find anything." And I was like, "That's fine. Like, I don't know what you want me to say." And so that was like a little bit off-putting, but whatever, you know, I look past it, and we're talking, and then I'm, you know, like I said, COVID's going on, so I'm like, yeah, we're gonna be doing all this stuff, keep everyone safe. And she's just like, you don't need to keep me safe. Let me worry about my own safety. Blah blah blah. And she's like, I'm like, oh my God, lady. And then she's, you know, started talking about she's been in a feature film and commercials and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, cool, you know. And then the conversation, as I thought it wasn't looking good. And then she took a turn and she took a shift, and I don't know if she just realized how she was acting or talking, but then she started talking about the character and the mom, and she was like, "Where's the husband?" and da 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 da. And I'm just thinking about the relationship between her and the son. And dude, she just started fucking like, I'm just like, I'm loving what you're saying about the script, you know. And it was a tough decision, but she was a little bit of a diva, like, you know what I'm saying, like the vibe we initially got. And I'm like, I can see her being kind of a pain in the ass on set, and like I just can't deal with that right now. And also, you know, Deanne gave such a great performance, and you know, speaking with her and everything was good vibes all around, and I knew she would have done a great job. So I was just like, yeah, we're gonna have to go with her. But that other lady, I do want to work with her eventually, because she is talented. And I actually did watch a feature film that she was on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was watching this movie. It was made in Austin, because like I'm a big supporter of people that make films in Austin and that are from here. And so if you have a movie on Amazon or whatever, like I'll buy the motherfucker, you know, I'll pay for it. And yeah, I was watching it, and then she was in it, and I was like, oh, and she's a great actress. So
How hard is it these days to get like a big break as an actor or an actress?
Ooh, I don't know. I wouldn't know. I mean,
or is there even like a route that you would take? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
there's so many different routes you can take. I was just talking to Arissa about this, and I'm like, there's really not a traditional route. Like literally, this kid on YouTube who made these Backrooms short films, he just got a deal with A24, and they're going to turn those YouTube videos into a movie. David F. Sandberg, who's directed the 2 Shazam movies and a couple of the Doll movie.
Megan?
No, the other one. From the Conjuring series.
Oh, Annabelle?
Annabelle. Yeah, he did Annabelle Coming Home or whatever. He started his career on YouTube. He literally made a 2-minute short film called Lights Out, and got a call from a producer, and he thought it was a joke, and then it turns out it wasn't. So, I mean, there's no really clear-cut path, you know, you can do. I think the best way, and this is the approach I'm taking, is just put your best foot forward and make the best work that you possibly can that makes you happy, and just hope that enough people see it and enjoy it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, the right person sees it.
Yeah, I feel like it's like a matter of what it is. It's almost luck. It's like you just have to get your stuff in front of the right set of eyes.
There's also a business side to it. Like, you don't. Okay, so I'm gonna go on a quick tangent. There's a filmmaker, Jim Cummings, and he talks. He the way he has made his films is he self-funds everything. He's made 3 feature films for about $300,000 a piece, and he just got signed to a big agency after his 3rd feature film. But he talks about that. He's like, become your own studio. Don't wait for the he got this from Jay Duplass, but Jay Duplass is always like, the cavalry isn't coming. Like, everyone's always making a film hoping that somebody's gonna give them attention and then come and be like, here's a blank check, go make your passion project, right? Because you hear stories like that, but how often does that really happen, right? It may never happen, and you can't stake your career on that. So that's why I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna just keep writing, and I'm gonna keep, because I put all my money, my own money, into my films, and I'm just gonna keep making what I make at the budget levels that I can. And if it works out, it works out. If not, I don't care. I made a feature film, or I got to make the movies that I wanted to make. Ideally, yeah, I want it to pan out, and I want to, make money from them so I can not have to worry about other stuff.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I can't complain because I'm getting to do what I want to do.
Yeah, for sure. That's what I feel like. I don't know, man. And then we've talked for hours about, this subject, just chasing your dreams, man, and not. Yeah, I feel like we're in agreement to. I just don't like 9 to 5, man.
Yeah.
Or I work 6 to 2, 2:30.
I'm just not early. I'm not built for that.
Yeah, man. I don't like. All right, when you come in, take your headphones out, do this, and lunch is at this time. It's just,
I think that's why you see a lot of creative people who are artists and stuff like that. They work these jobs that are just not strict, or you work crazy hours, and it's just like, because your heart is just telling you to do something else, but the society and the system that we live in requires you to go and work a job you really don't want to do so you can pay your bills, so you can live a decent life, at least,
Yeah, so you can eat, put a roof over your head, do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Basically live.
Yeah, just so you can live and not, under a bridge.
Yeah. Would you? I was thinking about this the other day, and it's just, I always think of sayings all the time. I was thinking I would rather be broke and happy than to be well off and depressed, wake up every day upset. But then I was like, I don't know. I might be like, yeah, I might be broke and happy. But if you're honestly happy being broke, what else is, that matters if you're happy?
Yeah.
But I don't think that I would be happy and broke. I think I'd be pretty pissed off.
It's like in Office Space, where he was all like, what would you do if you had $1 million? And he's like, I don't know. I just would just not do anything. And he's like, hell, you ain't got to have $1 million to not do shit, Mom.
Yeah.
Well, my cousin just sits at home, don't do shit all day.
Yeah. This dude was asking me what I would do if I won the lotto at work, and I was like, I don't know, man. I'd probably just keep coming in, but I think I'm just lying to myself. I would go in just to put in.
Yeah, a lot of people say that, and like I have no fucking loyalties to any fucking corporation, dude. If I win the lottery, people are like, "Oh, as a courtesy, I'm gonna put in a 2-week." No, fuck all that, dude. I literally, if I get a call and they're like, "Oh, you just won $200 million," I would call my job the next day and be like, "I quit."
Yeah.
Fucking hang up, and I'd go back to sleep, and sleep the best sleep I ever had.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be all like, "Oh, it's a courtesy." Dude, the corporation's not going to do you the courtesy when it's come time. They're not going to tell you, hey, we're going to tell you in 2 weeks we're going to fire you, so you might have to, you know how it is. You've been laid off. Like, they don't do you the courtesy, so why the fuck would you return the favor?
They did me the courtesy of not telling me until my shift was 30 minutes from when my shift was over, so I can bust my ass that whole day and get some work done for them, and then they can can me at the end of the day, which it worked perfectly.
Yeah, I saw this funny like a meme, and it was like, man, if I die, I hope I die in the morning so I don't go to work for nothing. And I was just like, damn, that is true.
Yeah.
That would suck. You go bust your ass, you have like the worst day at work, and then fucking die.
Yeah, die on the way home.
Clock out. Yeah,
that would suck.
I'd be so pissed.
So what do you have going on soon? You working on anything right now? Coming out soon?
Soon.
Soon.
Yeah, I currently so like I said, I've been working as a cinematographer lately. I'm working on my friend Kate, she's a writer director, and she's also, works other film roles, and she's super talented. She wrote this like really great script. It deals with like alcoholism and father-daughter relationships, and there's so much layered in there. And when I read the script, I liked it. It's a short script. It's a very short script, but I really liked it. And she was like, hey, would you want to shoot this for me? And I was like, oh, huge honor. Anytime somebody's like, hey, I like your work as a cinematographer, would you want to film this for me? I'm like, absolutely. And she kind of asked like to help out in terms of like as a producer role, but honestly, I haven't really been doing much as a producer. I feel like she's so good at it. She's just got everything covered. So I'm just, kind of helping her along as much as I can, because, I've made a film or two. So without stepping on her toes, because, I think as a filmmaker, I know what it's like to want to have somebody there to kind of just like have your back. And so when I'm helping other directors, I'm like doing the things for them that I would want somebody to do for me. So I'm going to be shooting that at the end of the month. And then I am also still writing a feature horror film that I'm going to start fundraising for. Once the script is done, I'm immediately, first draft, the first draft sucks too, but I'm going to try to put a rush on this. As soon as the first draft is done, I'm going to start fundraising. I'm going to start casting. I'm going to start scheduling and figuring out when and how we're going to shoot this. And then this year, making my first feature film. Horror film, because horror films sell. I mean, if you go look at my YouTube channel, the two most popular films are horror films. One's almost at 20,000, the other one's at 12,000. So,
and your YouTube channel is
just my name, Joseph Santa Cruz. 3 words
on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Cool,
go check
man.
out my crap.
You were talking about fundraising. You can ask your buddy on Brown Street to do a barbecue sale, plate sale. Heard he's got some good barbecue. Depending on who you ask.
Don't put too much pepper in that motherfucker.
Too much pepper.
Yeah, we're gonna figure out. We're gonna get creative. I'm gonna do stuff, man. Probably. I saw this some other fundraising Indiegogo movie. They raised $25,000, but they had like cool prizes. They had like shirts and cards and thank you cards and fucking movie $100 for the premiere event or whatever. So
yeah, I saw they I don't know what you had sent me a link to one of the it might have been the one you were talking about. The movie poster is like kind of pink.
Yeah. That's the one I'm working on.
Yeah, they had like some perks for the different donation things and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, the movie poster looks cool. I think it's the teaser poster is the one that has the flowers. I don't know if there's an official movie poster yet, but her movie posters look cool. She made another movie. I can't remember what it's called. Don't Walk Home Alone in the Dark or something like that. Fucking poster looks badass. Movie's good too, but poster, I was like, damn, that's fucking dope.
Nice.
Yeah, posters are always hard.
All right, well, Stuck with Chuck. Go check it out on YouTube. Night Visit, real short watch if you're in a hurry or if your attention span is that of a goldfish. Go check that one out as well on Joseph Santa Cruz YouTube.
You can post a link, see?
Yeah, links will be in the description. Thanks for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, man?
Nope, that's it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Had fun.
Thanks for coming on once a year.
Yeah.
We'll see where you're at next year.
Yeah, hopefully not 6 feet in the ground.
Oh, man. Just leave me your cameras.
You got to know how to use them first.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. Go check out Joseph's YouTube channel. Once again, my name is James. Joseph over here. And I'll see you back here again next week.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye.